Welcome to Put the Kids to Bed and Let's Talk. I'm your host, The Rebuttal, and I got two special guests with me tonight to discuss this hell of a topic, black men and mental health. Can y'all start by introducing yourself to the grown folks in the chat?
I guess it'll work if I unmute. It's your boy Kowalski. Kowalski Owens. I'm 38 years old and I'm heterosexual.
Okay.
My name is Jeremiah Andrews. I am 24 years old. I'm heterosexual and I'm a clinical therapist.
Let's go. Let's go. And today's topic, black men and mental health, we got a special one for y'all because we got two therapists on the line. So we gonna jump right into it, man. The first thing I want to ask y'all, and we can go in ABC order. What's crazy? Yeah, J come before K, right? Yeah. So Jeremiah, you can go first with the questions.
Okay.
Do you think black men are more unwilling to utilize mental health therapy or just therapy than others?
Yes, I think there's a prevalent stigma within the African American community regarding mental health. I think just in general with a lot of black males, like we don't like going to the doctor,
Mm,
right? Let alone kind of talking to a stranger about different problems we're facing within our lives. Black people have a sort of a granted and like a very very logical untrustworthiness towards the health field in general, right? Dating back to things like the Tuskegee experiment, things like that. So yeah, definitely, I think we're more hesitant,
and you brought up a
rightfully so.
good ass point with the Tuskegee experiment, just not trusting the system. But
Right.
and how we don't go to the doctor. A lot of men do not go to the doctor till like they get old and it almost be too late. What about you, Kowalski? Do you think black men are more unwilling to utilize therapy than others?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Jeremiah. Great points there. The only thing that I would add is it's not something that's supported by the family as well. You know, as black men, we're taught to be strong, don't show emotions, don't be weak, and then you have to keep family business. So most of
Mm,
the stressors that could be, I guess, mitigated with therapy has to do with your family, and the last thing you talk about in public is your family. And so I think they avoid therapy for those reasons as well. Because if you look down on my family, or I find out that my family is dysfunctional, then that must mean that I'm dysfunctional as well. So yeah, I agree.
so you think it's like a culture that comes from the family?
Most definitely.
Mm, good point.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Do you believe, Jeremiah, that there is enough representation of black males in the mental health field?
No, I think we're unicorns. There's not many black men, black male therapists, and really just black men working within the mental health area. You don't see that a lot. I think it's special where I work at to have actually another black male. That was exciting for me because I had never seen that before. And I had no colleagues or people that had come before me had ever had that before. So I think is we're very far and few in between.
Hmm. What about you, Kowalski? Do you think there's enough representation of black males in the mental health field?
Most definitely not. It's crazy that that's the term that gets, I guess, typecasted on black therapists is that you're a unicorn. I heard that so many times after graduating, especially doing interviews. For my first job, they was like, we really want you on board. It's so rare to see black men as therapists. And so, Jeremiah, of course, when he was doing his intern, I was just starting out. So to see him come along, I was excited.
Hmm.
Like, man, I was the only black guy in my cohort. So it's not a lot of us out there. And if they are in the mental health or psychological field, man, they're usually really high up and they crossed over into like the administrative role to where they're not providing services, one-on-one services anymore.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
now that's the thing, bro. That kind of lead into my next question. But before we go into it, like, yeah, that to me, man, me being a therapist too, like in this field, it it is like people say they appreciate a black male, but I really don't see the appreciation as much as it's talked about when you do get a black male in a job. For me, just for me though, I haven't seen the like real appreciation of that due to it being so female dominated or
One
women
hundred percent.
dominated. So
Yep.
with that, Jeremiah, do you believe there is a gender bias in the mental health field when it comes to selecting therapists?
Um, it it there can be. I think there can be. But the reason I think that there is because there may be more women that go to therapy, um, rather than men in a lot of, let's say, outpatient settings specifically,
Yep.
right? So because of that, right? Like people kind of want to go to somebody that can relate to their shared experiences in a way. There's some things that I'll never be able to understand, that a woman goes through, right? Because I'm not a woman. And so yeah.
Hmm. That's interesting. You said that. You believe that certain things will never be understood by a male because he's not a female when it comes to
Yeah,
therapy?
when it comes to therapy, I'm not sure. But when it comes to maybe shared experiences, I'd say so. Maybe not in the
Mm,
therapy realm, but just different things that women may go through that they can relate in a way that I won't be able to relate to because I've never been through it,
mm.
in their eyes at least.
And that's fair. I think that's fair though, because I know a lot of black people just in general don't go to therapy just because they don't want a white therapist that can't relate to being black in America. So
Right.
can't have it both ways, you know. If I can see it that way, I should be able to see it why they see it, you know, the way they see it as a shared experience with male and female. What about you, Kowalski? Do you believe there's a gender bias in the mental health field when it comes to selecting therapists?
I, oh, bias is such a strong word. I kind of hate to say yes, but I'm gonna go ahead and say yes. Um, and while Jeremiah was talking, one thing that popped in my mind first, I agree with everything he said. The second thing that pops up in my mind, man, is that most of the credit in psychological field and mental health have been given to white men. They've led the
Mm,
charge in most of the theories we use, most of the techniques. They're all spearheaded by white men until you get this turning point where now white women have entered the scene. And I think it was easier for black women to segue into that and kind of into that women empowerment, and therapy became kind of a female dominated arena. And
yeah.
so while the women were doing most of the counseling, I guess which ties back into most black men, there are now those elite in those elite positions that we call elite positions, where they're psychologists doing research, or they're administrators that's over this huge department or something, or they're teachers, which is also few and far between. But I would say that there is a definitely a bias there for women in our field.
Yeah, I agree. I I really believe, like, for me, the reason I think the bias exists is due to like a lot of men have caused trauma to children, or like the lack of having a father, like all these single parent homes, and then also just like a lot of bad light that's been shed on men throughout the years, like from like us hurting them, the Me Too movement. Like I feel like a lot of men just been a lot of bad light have been shed on men, and like the word masculinity, and covered in like lost in translation with toxic masculinity, and also just you usually look at a man as like not being in touch with his emotions, so that might not translate well when a client comes in and is like given a choice between a man and a woman. They like, well, I don't really see a man being like, you know, emotional with me, so I might not want to
Right.
open up to him, you know. Or how many people actually sit down and open up to their fathers, you know, like that. I think that play a big role in it too. Like it's not, I ain't gonna say it don't exist, but it don't seem like it happens a lot.
That's true. I can see that.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Um, Jeremiah,
Mhm.
how does it feel for you when working with a black male in your field? Well, not working with, but serving a black male in your field.
Um, I try to be careful. I'd say how it feels. I think it makes me happy, right? Like it makes me happy to see somebody who looks like me kind of come in and want to work on some things, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, what I try to do is be careful that I don't assume just because they look like me, they've been through everything I've been
Mm,
through, and they can relate and they can understand exactly what I've been through, and vice versa, right? Like I won't be able to understand exactly things that they've been through just because we look like each other, right? Even though we look like each other, we have a lot of differences in between us all, right?
yeah.
And so I try to keep that in mind as well.
What about you, Kowalski? How does it
Same.
sound?
Yes, sir. I'm excited when I have a new black male on my caseload because I'm happy that they showed up. I know it's tough to walk through those doors and say I need help, and so for them to already cross that milestone, I'm excited. But like Jeremiah, I'm kind of apprehensive and nervous because I don't want
Mm,
to get too comfortable or let my I don't want to trauma bond, especially if something that they've gone through I've experienced. And so it's really sometimes it can be tough to maintain those boundaries and say, okay, I'm here as in a helping role to focus on what you have going on, even though I can relate to what you're saying, or I cannot relate to what you're saying, but now it's something new. It becomes a vicarious trauma because you as a black male have gone through it, or somebody in
mm,
my family has gone through something like that. And so now I look at you like a little cousin, or
Yep.
so
Oh,
it's
oh yeah,
yeah,
that's
mm.
it right there.
it's tough. It's tough, man. But overall, I'm excited that they're there.
I like what you said. So you say you don't want to look at them as like a family member. I get that. Why is that so important to you to not do that?
To maintain those professional boundaries, like you said earlier, we're providing a service. And I don't want to. I don't want to sympathize with them. It's easy for me to sympathize with my family because our relationship is so much different. But with my client, I'm here to help you unravel what's going on for you and help you get to a better place for you. It don't have anything to do with me or my family and what we've gone through. So it's just really important to keep those boundaries there. Remind myself that hey, I'm using Jeremiah, but this is Jeremiah's story. It's not my cousin's story. It's not
Mm,
James' story. This is
yeah,
Yep.
Jeremiah. So let me focus on Jeremiah.
yeah, I like that. Basically, not letting your experiences get in the way of what they trying to say to you.
Right.
Making sure you hear them and you're not just I feel that 100%. So now I'm gonna ask y'all to take y'all therapist hat off and just talk to me as a black man. A black man in America, many different backgrounds. Many different outcomes we done had, but we all in the same field. Uh, start with you, Jeremiah. As a black man, do you feel men are allowed to be vulnerable?
Do I think men are allowed to be vulnerable? Uh, are we allowed to be vulnerable?
Yeah.
I'd say it depends on the space, right? Like I think the trouble I'm having, I think, is with the word allow, because I've asked myself like, why am I trying to pander to what they want me to do, right? Like,
Mm,
why am I going off of kind of what they think I should do or how I should act? Why am I not allowing myself to kind of be in that space, right? But the reality is because we get harsher penalties than anybody else if we do that, right? There's a stigma with us if we're not strong, right? If we're not people who can kind of be able to put on this face and fight through, that we won't be able to do our jobs effectively or just be people, right?
mhm,
Um, we're we struggle to kind of have those vulnerable moments because we haven't seen it before.
mm, mm. What about you, Kowalski? Or as a black man, do you feel like men are allowed to be vulnerable?
Oh man, I just had this conversation. So everything to me is on a spectrum, right? I would say if we look at it from being allowed to, we're definitely significantly beneath 50%. One, I say that because in the professional world, you're expected to be twice as good. And you really
Mm,
can't be angry about anything. You can't get upset about anything because it will all be viewed in this lens of aggression. In family roles, you're expected to be strong and the head and the breadwinner. You're supposed to brave the storm, so you can't be vulnerable there because then people don't want to follow you. You're not a good leader if you don't do that.
mm,
And then in friendships, if you can't take a joke or you too sensitive,
mm,
then there's no place for you to be vulnerable there. So it's really tough to really open up and say, I'm not okay. And so the new thing is, well, I won't say new thing, but the common phrase is, I'm okay, I'm good, bro. But you ain't really good. And you're
mm,
saying this to people who, their opinion is so highly regarded. Um, I know women now are saying, who are you in a relationship with? Are you in a relationship with me or your homeboys? Because you regard
mm.
their opinion so high. Uh, but we don't even be vulnerable with our best friends most of the time. They don't know what we go through because it'll either be inadvertently disregarded or just outright like, man, that ain't no big deal. Get over it.
Mm.
It's like, nah, but it's bothering me though. So I don't think we have the space to be vulnerable.
Yeah. Yeah. And they try to sucker you in so hard though. Like it's okay to cry, it's okay to, and then your weakest moments you have with somebody, they'll turn around and throw it in your face sometimes.
Quickly.
And
Yep.
yeah, and it just
Quickly.
like, it's so confusing. It's just so confusing. But I guess you just have to find that balance. Or get you a group of good male friends that are, realistic with the harsh realities of life. And, but at the end of the day, they kind of tell us to put, chin up, chest out, and get through it. That's basically what we
Yeah.
get left with.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
have have you ever seen? Well, let's start here. Jeremiah, what is your definition of a real man? And if you remember, I remind you. After you give your definition, have you ever seen it?
Okay. Um, somebody who can be honest, right? Somebody who can be honest and who can be vulnerable. Um, I think it's easy to break away. I think it's easy to get caught up in like what we've all been taught, right? But I think a definition of a real man is somebody who can kind of be able to come to those forks in the road in life and like go left when everybody is telling him to go right, but go left because he's passionate and honest with himself and really believes that left is the way that he needs to go for him and his family and the ones he loves.
Mm,
And have I ever seen that? Uh, I don't believe so. I don't believe
mm,
so, at least not within my life personally.
mm,
Um, and maybe a lot of that can be because I think when we have those moments, a lot of those things may be private. They may not be shared, right, amongst everybody. So maybe that's why I haven't seen it. Maybe there are things happening within the men that I have had within my life, right? Those role models who had those moments, and I just haven't been privy to them.
mm. What about you, Kowalski? What is your definition of a real man? And have you ever seen it?
Uh, that's tough, man. That's a tough one right there. But I love questions like this because it make me think.
Mm,
Definition of a real man, it would definitely be somebody that has the emotional and overall intelligence to know where they are and where they want to be, and then the energy and drive to get there. Like Jeremiah said, even when there's adversity, you're determined to get there because you know where you are and you know what it takes to get there. And then being considerate of others while you're on your journey, knowing that there's somebody looking at you, looking up to you, and watching what you do because that's a template. So a real man is aware of all of those things and he moves accordingly. Have I seen that? I can say, yeah. I have been blessed with some really great uncles, if I'm being honest. Now, have they always made the best choices? No, because they're human.
yeah.
They're not gonna get 100% right. But I've seen them course correct. I watched them apologize. I watched them not apologize and then realize they were wrong and then try to get that right. So yeah, I've seen some really good examples of real men. And to be honest with you, all of them are vastly different in their own way. What I found is getting close with my uncles as I've grown up, because my uncles are what 10, 15 years older than me, 20 years older than me. I have a good range, so I have some that are really close to my age, and then some that are like entering into the late 50s, early 60s, and so I get to see them at different stages, and it's helped me to grow into who I am. So yeah, I've seen some good examples of great men.
Mm, I appreciate those answers. I think I'm gonna just do mine on my. I ain't gonna take up time with my definition. I'm gonna do it on another one. What makes a man? Well, okay. You have like we are in different times right now. 10 years ago we was in different times, but right now at this very moment, what makes a man valuable in these times? Like what's your opinion of what makes a man valuable in this time and age?
Uh, I'd say the way I think again we have a different sort of a lot of us, right? Those who are determined kind of have a different level of assertiveness and
Mm,
achievability that we kind of all strive for, right? Especially to be honest, there's privilege there, right? That we kind of have, in a sense. While we aren't don't have the same privileges maybe a white male does. We still have in a lot of ways some more privilege than a black woman, right? I say black women are undoubtedly the most disrespected species in all of humankind, right? Dating back
mm,
way, way back,
100.
well documented. So yeah.
okay. What about you, Kowalski?
I'm sorry, Jeremiah took my brain all the way left. What was the question?
Yeah, yeah, really, really, I did. Did I answer the question the right
Oh,
way? Because I'm
Bro, I
like,
don't
no,
even
no, it
know.
was
That's
good.
crazy. You took me left too, and it's like
Oh
I
yeah,
heard
man.
what you said. I don't even know if you answered it, but if you don't feel like
mhm.
you answered, it, we'll spin back to you. What makes a man valuable in this
Okay,
time and
yeah,
age?
yeah. So I'd say that. I'd say that the fact that we kind of still benefit from a sort of privilege, right? But as well as like our drive, our instinct that we have to really get stuff done.
Mm,
And I think we serve as a rock in a lot of ways to our families. And those hard places and serve as like Kawasi was saying, those role models, those positive male role models that we kind of have within our lives. So yeah.
okay.
I would agree. I would say adaptability is going to keep us at the forefront of things. It's going to keep us centered and relevant, because I mean we're in a huge technological boom right now, to where I remember growing in high school, Google was just a place where you got like addresses and things like that. But now it's evolved into this whole thing, to where it's like a social media platform almost.
Mm,
So you're instantly exposed to things. So just being able to adapt to the roles that's needed. We can't rely on those traditional things so wholeheartedly that we don't move forward. We're gonna get left behind. So I think adaptability is going to be key.
okay, I like that adaptability, and I think Jeremiah, you basically summed it up with like ambition. A man having ambition.
Correct.
Um, what's more valuable to you, strength or money?
Strength of money. Ooh. Um, at face value, I want to say money.
Mm,
But I think if you have money without strength, then you lose your money real, real quick.
mm,
So with that being said, I'd say strength. Now somebody for me, like if you ask me right now, Jeremiah, would you want to add a little more extra strength, or do you want some money? I'm gonna tell you the money,
money,
straight
yeah.
like that.
Mm. What about you, Kowalski? What's more
Yeah,
valuable, strength or money?
I would definitely say money right now, and that's
Mm,
that's without my therapist. I'm being 100% Black Kowalski. Money right now is going to be the most essential thing, and I don't say that
mm,
because I'm discrediting the strength that I have and that's been perfected in me. with going to school, with not completing college the first go around and having to come back after working 10 plus years
Mm.
and jump back into the educational role and watching my money disappear because I'm paying for school.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, going from choosing where I wanted to eat and where I wanted to go to ramen noodles again wasn't fun. So I think the strength is there right now. I need money because it's going to give me more. I think money is tied so closely to equity that to discount it right now would be it would be a kind of a dang what I'm trying to say. If you don't realize that money is necessary, you're holding too strong to those old values, and now you're not adapting. And so, even though
Mm,
it doesn't look like you're going behind, you're getting left behind because let's be honest, man, our white counterparts are entering the field doing the same thing we do with the education we have, making $20,000 and $30,000 more than we do,
mm,
and they're able to one impact their community at a larger scale than we are because they have more access to money. So we have to be able to spot those things, especially as black men or as black people, be able to spot that and say, "Hey, that ain't right. Like we need to make this thing equal. So I need more money because I want to be able to do these things for my community as well." So yeah, I'm gonna pick money. That's just black me
Correct.
picking money.
okay. I ain't got nothing against that, bro. For me, I'm gonna go with strength, but I feel like either is no wrong or right answer. But to me, I just feel like we live in the day in a time and era where you can translate anything into money, and having a strength, if you know what you're doing, can translate into a bunch of money. To me, so
Can you help me? Because I need about $25,000 right now. I got about
uh,
2 million strength points. I just need 25,000 off your
yeah,
end. Yeah.
hey, that's crazy.
That'd be nice.
That's crazy. That's astronomical. 25K, huh? Yeah. I feel you though, but I get it though. I get it. Like money, a lot of people say first you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the respect. So I get it. You know what I'm saying? Get your money. But to me, just
I got
strength
you.
to me just more valuable than money. But not saying that I would just stay with the strength and not get money. But on the top of the list to me, it'll be strength first.
You know what? If I can, I'm gonna say this. I get what you're saying because we're on your podcast right now, and this is something that you're building, and I know it's going to be great, right? It's already great in and of itself, but
Yeah.
to the point to where it's now gaining you so much money that you don't have to work a traditional job, right?
Mm,
It takes strength to stay on top of it. It really
yeah.
does. From the
Yeah.
social media posts to the willingness to record to editing, it takes a lot of energy, effort, and strength, mental strength to convince yourself that what you're doing is not a waste. I
Yeah.
know for me that's a tough one. It's like, man, I don't really want to do this. Ain't nobody gonna listen
Yeah.
to it. Ain't nobody gonna watch it. So yeah, I agree with that too. But I would definitely take $25,000 right now.
Hey,
More if you got it.
me too, bro. Me too. All right. Jeremiah, when was the last time you cried?
Maybe 3 months ago.
Okay.
Really, maybe 3 months ago, man. In the process, when I was in the process of purchasing my home,
Hmm. So it was a
it
happy cry.
was it was a happy cry, but also like just a cry of relief. Like, wow, it's
Hmm.
finally done, man. Like it's finally over with, right? That would be the last time because you go through these things. They talk about like being young black homeowners is so impactful and special, right?
Hmm.
So for me and my wife to go ahead and go do that, that's special, man.
Let's go. Let's go. I'm glad. And that asking somebody that you never know if they gonna really answer it or what. You know what I'm saying? I just went with it
You
and you
already
you
know.
answered it, bro. I respect that. What about you, Kowalski? When was the last time you cried?
Yesterday.
Mm,
Um, and that's because of I know both of you guys know the loss that I've experienced,
yeah.
and being honest and transparent, the things that it woke up that I thought were resolved, and then just sitting. I actually walked in. I was driving to the coast, and it just hit me. I wanted to reach out to somebody that I had lost, and just in the moment of doing things, you see something that we shared together. You want to send a quick text message, and then you get that. realization that dang, this person is no longer here. And it just hit me, and so I
Yeah.
just usually I try to push it down, but I allowed myself just to cry because
Mm.
that relationship was important to me,
Yeah.
and sadness is a necessary emotion. I say that a lot in therapy sessions, but in practice, that's tough. And I was in the car alone, so it wasn't that anybody would see me. It's just the fact that
Yeah.
crying is something that men don't do. That's I can
Mm.
hear that. You don't let nobody see you cry. Don't let them see you shaking up or anything. But that's a part of who I am as a person. So I just let myself cry. So yesterday,
Man, that's rough. That's I mean not rough, that's real. You made me think like I gotta add this question. Like, so it's like, do you feel guilty for crying?
Oh man. Oh, at times, and I think the last time I kind of felt guilty in a sense was at my great grandmother's funeral. That was earlier this year, and the reason why it was kind of tough, what was some months ago, but the reason why it was kind of tough was because like she kind of instilled and like said her kind of final words to me, and I didn't know those were the final words, right?
Mm, yeah.
So at her funeral, like I kind of realized some guilt sitting in on my end, like dang, I wish I could have reached out more, or dang, I wish there was some more things that I could have said, right? But thankfully, right, like I've kind of been able to rely on the fact that I believe she's in a better place, and so also like it even though the guilt was there, was also some kind of like, Jeremiah, you're allowed to kind of not know because neither did she.
Mm, okay. What about you, Kowalski? Is that a thing? Like, do you feel guilty around crying? Because I heard you say you had to allow yourself to cry. Is there some type of guilt or what barrier is there that makes you feel like you have to allow yourself to cry?
I wouldn't say guilt. I would more say shame,
Okay.
because the I would call it a false moral, a false rule. There is that you should be strong enough, right? But if I really look at the reason why I'm crying is because we're human and we value connection. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much of an introvert or a loner you think you are. That connection to another person is vital. And so
Mm,
just shame around the discrepancy between this false moral that I have that men don't cry, and that it's weak for me to cry, but also knowing that a part of me is gone. Parts of me are gone because I built a life with these people,
man.
and so it's tough, even going through the mental gymnastics of that. And let's face it, I am a therapist, so I've read so much research and done so much work with people and helped them walk through it. But when it's time to look in the mirror, it's tough. It's really tough. So even in that moment, trying to push those emotions down, I had to get to a point where like, man, this is not benefiting me to keep this stuff trapped in. I know what happens when you sit on your emotions and don't allow them to, and I don't want that. And I know the people that I lost don't want that either. So cry. They're important enough to cry about.
That's big facts right there. I like how you said they are important enough to cry for. Like, yeah, that's powerful right there. They are important enough to cry for. Do do you have a safe person? No. Do you have a safe place or a safe person to go to?
I think so. I think so. Definitely within my partner and my mom, man, those two individuals, being able to kind of rely on them, and then also my friend, my best friend that we've kind of been rocking for 8 9 years, college roommates, was in Kappa League together, Lion Brothers, the whole shebang, right? So kind
Yeah,
of being able to rely on those individuals more than anything. Yeah, definitely.
let's get it. What about you, Kowalski? Do you have a safe place or safe person to go to?
Yes, sir. I have several safe people, and I love saying that. I love being able to say that. One, because of what we just talking about. We never know when those people will no longer be with us, and so having a network of safe people to go to. My brother, one of my best friends, Keisha, my DP when I was pledging. Being able to go to these people in different facets of life. I talk to them about different things that are going on to me. Each one of them have a different security clearance. And
That's
so depending on what it is, I'm able to at least talk that thing out and be my real self.
Hmm.
I don't have to be therapist Kowalski. I get to let all that go. I don't have
Yeah.
to be strong, big brother. I can let that. I talk to my brother about some really heavy things. I just didn't lose my mom. He lost his too.
Right.
So it having those different pockets of people, man, I encourage that. Build you a community of people that really see you for who you are in some capacity. I'm not telling you go tell your deepest, darkest secret to about 5 people, but pick what you're comfortable with sharing with this person with and sharing that life with them. It's important.
Let's get it. Jeremiah, I know you gave me your definition of a man, but has that always been your definition of a man or did it change over time?
Um, I think it I would say it maybe has changed over time, right? Like I mentioned, like kind of being a part of Kappa League within my upbringing and seeing a lot of different positive male role models within my fraternity, right? That was always really, really beneficial for me. Having those individuals to see, kind of map things off of, right? And then my uncle, my cousin, right? Being able to just kind of map those things and see, like, okay, they were honest with me and able to tell me different things that they messed up on, right? And that I was kind of able to kind of go right when they went left, right? And vice versa, right? Being able to kind of tell me, Jeremiah, give yourself a little grace, man, right? You're allowed to mess up this thing up a little bit. So I'd say it's changed over time. Just kind of being able to grow and mature as my own man.
Let's go. What about you, Kowalski? Has you? I know you gave me your definition, but has that always been your definition, or did it change over time?
It definitely changed over time. I remember thinking that the only way you could be a real man was to be like my granddad. He had this really nice job. He had a house and he had multiple cars, and my grandma didn't really have to work for anything. And so that was a man, he could do all these things. And then the more I grew, the more I matured, I realized that, oh, he got some flaws taped up in there somewhere.
Mhm.
Um, and then going beyond that, in order to be a man, you had to be heterosexual, trying to build this life, having kids, and continuing your lineage. And then that changed with going to college and
Mhm.
meeting men who weren't heterosexual and still had this drive and this adaptability. And it just kind of shifted everything
Mhm.
to allow me to mature in what I thought a man was. And so it's amazing. I'm pretty sure probably 2 years from now, shoot, a week from now, it could change again,
Yeah.
because we're constantly, hopefully we're constantly adding puzzle pieces to get a better picture or a more detailed picture of what we hope to add to society as men.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Keep adding to it. It don't have to stop. It don't have to be a permanent, end all be all type of thing. Because the world changes and we got to adapt to it. And we learn what was helpful and what wasn't helpful. So I definitely agree with that. Um, Jeremiah, when was the last time you felt appreciated?
Last time I felt appreciated was probably at my baby shower. Well, not my baby shower, my daughter's baby shower. Being able to have that family there and kind of just them reassure me and tell me like, wow, man, you really did this thing, right? Kind of commending me for getting my master's and doing this thing, being a full-time therapist, right? Licensed therapist, provisionally licensed therapist, right. Just kind of giving me that like, man, you're really doing this thing, homeowner, all of that, showing me a lot of love and appreciation.
Mm,
So that was maybe, I think that was a month ago. Yeah, so not too long ago.
yeah. What about you, Kowalski? When is the last time you felt appreciated?
Most recently would be I have to give kudos to my supervisor, also my assistant director. Um, she helped me to see inside of my grief how much I impacted my colleague, my coworker's life, because I was talking so much about how she helped me, and she said, "Kowalski, I want to tell you this because if she was here right now, she'd kill me for telling you." And she just told me how much of an impact I was with helping her get ready to start her own practice and filling out all the forms and encouraging her when it got tough, or it just, you don't know those things if people don't tell you. And so for her to kind of validate me as a young black professional and somebody that was engaging in real life, it really helped. Other than that, man, every time I talk to my niece, I feel appreciated. She be so excited to talk to me, and I be like, "Man, you just don't know your uncle is jacked up." Like I'm terrible. But when she, oh man, when she FaceTime me, I just feel like my whole world is just so much brighter. So I'm
Yeah.
fortunate.
Okay. Messing with that. Messing with that. Jeremiah, are you are you a better man than your father?
Uh, Better man? I don't know. I'm not sure. Like we just stated, that definition is always ever evolving and changing, right? So I don't know if I'm necessarily better than him. I think there are qualities he has that I may not, and vice versa, right?
Mm.
Um, yeah, so I say that.
Bet I ain't know what type of this. I feel like this is a loaded question, and I just I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of different reactions with this question.
I was
Um,
just
Yeah.
about to say.
Oh yeah. Oh
but
yeah.
I try
Yeah.
not to say too much because I want it to because I feel like you gonna interpret it how you interpret it based on your relationship with your father and you a father to be too, or just
Agree.
anybody. Like, it's
Yes.
gonna be a lot of different thoughts that flash across your head that you might
Yes.
say, then you might not say, but it's up to you. So,
Right.
Kowalski, are you a better man than your father?
Oh man. So how real do you want this answer to be? Do you
Hey,
want like
it's up to you, bro. Like, it's up to you. Like,
ah,
I ain't gonna take. I'll take the shortest answer to the longest answer. It don't matter.
you know what? Hey, everybody responsible for their own feelings. So I don't know who gonna hear this. And to be honest with you right now, I can't care about it. I'm gonna reverse it. I'm gonna say, am I better than my dad when he was a 38-year-old man?
Okay, okay.
Most definitely. By 200 miles. I've surpassed him by 200 miles. And the
Mm,
reason why I would say that is because I haven't abandoned my family. Um, I acknowledge those that are important to me. And I admit my mistakes when I realize I made a mistake. So if we just looking at those three things alone, I would say that I'm a much better man than my dad if he was a 38-year-old man, when he was a 38-year-old man.
mm. Okay, okay. I feel like I should answer it just because I ain't make y'all answer, but since y'all so for me, when it comes to this question, if somebody asked me this and I was thinking the way I'm thinking right now, I would probably say, if you ask my dad, am I a better man than him? He probably gonna tell you yeah, because he didn't told me that. But that was his goal, right? And it's a lot of things my dad did that I didn't agree with to this day. But we went through two phases. We had our phases when I was younger and our phase now when I'm older. And you know, I'm not gonna say I'm a better man than my father, but I know he proud of me, and regardless of what disagreements we had and to the place we at now, I'm always love him and honor him because he was there and he gave me somebody to look at. So
Right.
just keep it like
That's
that.
good. That's real good.
That is, man. And you guys are lucky in that aspect to even have that. Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
But I
And
don't. I don't.
and that's why I never try to correct people about how they feel about their parents because I didn't experience your parent. You know what I'm saying? It's like we be quick to be
Right.
like, "That's your mom. That's your mom." Shit, I'm their child. You know what I'm saying? Why they do me like
Yeah.
that? So it's like I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it, and you know I get it, bro. I get it. So
I've never
um,
even used that title. Like I've never been able
because
to say dad.
I heard you correct it. Like, well, you ain't even want to say father. So
No,
I heard you say, I
I
heard you
never
like,
have.
That's
yeah,
real.
that's real.
My uncles were my role models, and I
Mm,
can't take nothing from them. They were awesome, and that's my mom's brothers and my dad's brothers. Awesome men, but I can't say that for him.
yeah,
I'm just being real.
yeah. And that kind of goes into the next question. Jeremiah, who showed you how to be a man? If anybody.
Who Um, that is a really good question. I'd say a collection of people. I'd say those different role models that I had in my life when I was going through Kappa League, who were in my fraternity, right? Those individuals within my families, like even my older cousin, who's like 7, 8 years, maybe 9 years older than me. My uncle, my mom in a lot of ways, right? So yeah, really a lot of collection of people in my life, grandma, auntie. Um, we do this thing at Thanksgiving all the time. We gather in a circle, my family, and we kind of say what we're thankful for. And I make sure each time to say how they each impacted my life in a different way, right? Everybody in that circle kind of showed me a different way to kind of be the man I am today. Benefited me in a lot of ways.
Let's go. What about you, Kowalski? Who showed you how to be a man?
I'm gonna agree with Jeremiah. I know the old thing, an old saying that I've heard, especially growing up. A woman can't teach a man how to be a man, and
Mm,
I think that's a limiting statement. I won't call it false. It's just limiting because it takes a village. We can't say that it takes a village to raise a child, except if it's a man, then it has to be a man. That's false. I think
Correct.
it takes everybody. My uncles weren't always around to see when I was messing up, but my mom was, and she would tell me that's not becoming of a young man. She should tell me, I don't care how smart you are, if your attitude is horrible, people not gonna want to fool with you, and that's important to know. As growing as a young
mm,
man, you need to be mindful of your attitude and how you say things. Another one my grandma used to say: "It ain't what you say, it's how you say it. It's not what people call you, it's what you answer to." And so these things become the template in the background to help me become the person and the man that I am now. So I would say, yeah, I had a host of role models, great male teachers, great female teachers, family members that all poured into, helping me to become this person that I am today. So I think we need to rework that definition by saying, it has to be a man that teaches another man. It's the same way earlier talking about if we can relate to a woman by us being male therapists. We
mm,
won't hit every mark. No, we won't be able to understand everything, but that I mean we can't provide a level of understanding or guidance.
mm. Okay. You know, I hmm, my answer to that, not even answer, my rebuttal to what you saying is I believe a woman can help raise a healthy young man. But as far as showing them how to be a man, I don't believe a woman can. I just don't. I think, but I'm not saying that he'll be less of a man though. But showing him how to be a man, I don't think just because it's a difference when like even if a woman kind of like you still when you have to interact with another man, I feel like only a man that interacts with other men can show you how to do that on the level of I don't know, just like you in a fraternity. You know what I'm saying? Like that brotherhood and being around a bunch of men and like I feel like that's only that level of manhood can only be met by other men showing you the way. That's just my thought. I ain't saying that you're wrong. That's just how I think about it.
How so? Because all three of us in fraternities.
Mm-hmm.
So how so? I'm not disagreeing. I think I agree with what you're saying. How so?
Because I don't feel like I could teach a woman how to be a woman. I don't know how she feels.
You
Like
don't.
I can kind of like think I know, but I don't know.
So my rebuttal to that is that we all got the same 9 basic emotions.
Mm. Not the
All of
same, but
us.
we don't have the same testosterone and estrogen levels.
We don't express them the same way. But a woman who lost her mom at a young age still could be guided and molded by her dad if
Yeah,
he's aware of his emotions, right? He can't
yeah,
teach her how to. Oh, that's so tough. I see what you're saying, but that's so tough.
yeah. I feel like they can guide and mold her, but show her how to be a woman. I don't think so. I don't think a woman can show me how to be a man. She can help me.
Well, what do you
She can
mean
help
when
me
you
be a good
say
man to her, maybe. But being a man,
show you? What? Because I hear you when you say God, but show to you seems to be like a very very clear definition. So what do you mean when you say show? What
because
do you
she
entail
can't
show to
turn
mean?
into a man. I want better interpret the ways of a man through watching a man's actions. To me, even if it's through TV, YouTube, or whatever, just for me to understand more of myself.
So you're saying like social roles.
I don't know. I wouldn't even. I'm just saying, me seeing a clear picture of a man doing something is would mean more to me than just the words of my mother.
Can a man mow a lawn better than any woman? Can any woman mow a lawn as good as a man?
But I don't think that's what makes a man if a man can mow the lawn better.
Right? But you talked about different qualities. You talked about looking at TV and seeing something and being able to
Mm.
say, watching YouTube videos and showing you different aspects, right? So is that one of the things that you would be able to say, like, for you, like, do you think a man should be able to mow the lawn? Maybe.
Should he be able to?
Yeah. Should a man know how to mow his lawn, or should a
Oh
man
yeah,
be mowing his lawn? Is that one of the qualities that you think a man should possess?
I think so. Yeah, I think if he able body, he should he should mow the grass. Yeah,
Could
but
a
that's
woman
up to
show
him.
you how to mow the lawn as good as a man?
Yeah, but I don't think mowing the lawn is just directly connected to manhood.
Right.
So I guess that's what we're asking is when you say show you how to be a man, what are those things that pop up for you? What would be the, I guess, the checklist for, okay, these are the things that only another man can show you?
I don't know. I don't know. Like I can't describe it. Like in the, it's just that's like okay. Like could a white person teach you how to be black?
In what aspect? Because if I'm
Oh
looking at
no.
blackness,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So if
that's
I'm
what I'm
if I'm
saying.
looking at
So I'm saying like even if you take away the word man and woman, we still two different things.
right, but black is a culture, right? And so a white
Probably
person,
manhood seem like a culture if you look at it nowadays, like it's broken down into, you know. But what I'm
right?
saying is like me, when I look in the mirror or when I look out into into the world, I see there's two different things out here. Man, women, and then everything in between, right?
I
Um
got you. So
I
maybe a better term is relate, right? But those only another
I
man can relate to you on what it's like to be a man.
I just feel like if okay, I'm a Christian, not the best Christian, but God made two sexes and he made a clear distinction between a man and a woman. And he made it to where the only way you can really get another person on this earth is when a man and a woman come together. So to me, it takes both people to raise a healthy human being, but you need a man to show a man how to be a man. But not saying that you can't get a good man with a woman, but I still believe me watching myself grow up, if I didn't have a father there to just be like a boy usually gets a little more stronger than his mother at a time, and he's more hard. It's like we learn a lot of to me a lot of males learn different than girls. Like we're a little more aggressive, we're a little more hard headed sometimes, but sometimes you can have a girl like that. I'm not saying it's not a great area, but to me, it's just it feel that discipline coming from a male figure and like being able to relate to him and like just that bonding experience and him understanding how I feel as a young man and stuff like that, it was better to me than just hearing it from a woman.
I got you. So that makes sense. It's the relating to how our bodies develop and how our personalities develop in the package that we're in, male versus female. So a male would be able to better relate to what it was like at your age and kind of help
Yeah,
you navigate those things a little better.
like could you do you understand how it feel to have a period?
That's what I'm saying. So
Do
that
you
yeah,
feel
that
like you know what I'm saying? And I think though
yeah,
so we have key developmental things I think that go on with us too that only a man really could talk to us about.
right. I got you. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I got you. When you say show, I was thinking about like I guess behaviors, like
Mm.
things that you would actually do. Um, if that makes sense. But navigating like the emotional side of it, even though men are taught to repress their emotional side, I see what you're saying. I got you.
Mm,
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah, and I'm not trying to like downplay single mothers or anything, but people might feel a certain way when people say that. You know what I'm saying? But the reality of it is, a boy need a man in his life because it's you just like I ain't gonna say you can't prosper and become great without it, but you do need. It would be very helpful to have somebody that's made up just like you, show you how to be a better older version of you when you get there. Like I just feel like that's just a natural better thing.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
cool, cool. That could be a whole other topic. I think I need to span back on that because I feel like that'll be a good conversation. Um, let's see. Has there ever been a time where you almost gave up?
Uh, I'd maybe gave up as in the only time I can think of, well, the one that comes to mind at least, is school, right? So I kind of take myself back to undergrad, where I was kind of left in this fork in the road where I really had intentions of going pre-med, right? I wanted to be a doctor, a physician, maybe OBGYN, maybe wasn't really sure, right? But I wanted to be a doctor. And I was like, okay, I got to take Biology 160. They call it the weed out course. I tried to take it while I was online pledging my fraternity, and I ended up with a D in the course. D is in dog. So when you had that, you got to have a B or above in that class. So I was kind of left like, okay, boom. I can either just like give up in the sense of throw away the whole dreams of kind of becoming a doctor because I would have to wait like multiple semesters because I could only take it in the fall. That would put me off track, wouldn't be able to graduate on time. Or do I kind of shift what I want to do? Right. Like I had these aspirations as a young child, always wanting to be a doctor because my mom was a nurse. Right. Or
Mm,
did I kind of want to delve in, find myself and figure out like what you really want to do, Jeremiah? Right. So yeah, that'd be the last time when I think of give up. Give up is such a broad term, right? So
mm,
yeah.
okay. What about you, Kowalski? Has there ever been a time where you almost gave up?
I can say yeah. There was a time academically where I was like, this ain't gonna work. This ain't what it
Mm.
do. I also wanted to be a doctor, but thank God I did not. Uh, the work life balance is not great.
Right.
Mm,
But even as um, shoot, as a son, I wanted to give up. As a big brother, I wanted to give up.
mm.
Life is like that, man, and that's why
Yeah.
that community is. That's why that community is so important. Because when you get to those moments, having people that you can reach out to and help you kind of at least talk it out, or just sit there while you vent and just listen, just be an ear. But yeah, I've had moments where I wanted to give up.
Mm, okay. Jeremiah, would you be willing to try therapy?
Definitely, definitely, man, definitely. It's something that's way long overdue. Me being a therapist, I think, I think it's funny. I was talking to a coworker about it today, about how like being on the other side of the chair is would be very, very interesting. I think that would be like another one of those things that us being in a therapy room be able to kind of relate to in a
Mm,
sense of like being able to see like that when the different fears that one has of talking to somebody about their struggles, right, and saying I need help. So something that's long overdue for me, but definitely would consider trying it and eager to.
mm. What about you, Kowalski? Would you be willing to try therapy?
Yeah, I agree. I have in the past.
Okay.
I had a therapist in the past, and it was good. Uh, I would prefer to this time talk to somebody, a person of color. It don't have to necessarily be a male, but just a person of color, so I don't have to explain um,
Mm,
kind of those cultural factors that could sometimes be inadvertently categorized as a pathology. Um, but yeah, I have in the past, and actually, man, I signed up for our EAP today because I'm at the point now to where I realize the amount of loss I have is beyond
Mm,
my own ability to cope with. So I need to. I'm reaching out. I ain't gonna say I need to. I
okay,
am reaching
okay.
out. I'm on the list now, and hopefully I'll be matched by tomorrow.
I need to do that myself, man. I really do. Um, that's what's up, bro. You be saying some stuff that be powerful, bro. You just be saying it like it's regular. When you said what you just say, you said you
Actually,
said
everything to Kowalski, everything he taught me, it's all him, man. It's
yeah. You just
so
said it's so
wild.
regular, nonchalant. Like where you just said a meme down there. When you said your loss is too wet for you, what did you say? You
Oh
get lost?
yeah, because I mean, it's my life. The amount of losses I've experienced is beyond my means to cope with, and I
Mm.
know I know that I feel it. I
And
really feel it.
that's simply easily said, but to me when I hear that, that's a journey you've been on, and that's you being vulnerable enough to admit to yourself that, man, this is beyond me, you know.
Oh yeah,
And you
and
get what I'm
that
saying?
yeah, that's what my pocket of people come in too, because they said, man, they keep pointing out like you lost a lot. Are you sure you're okay? And then being okay enough to say, no, I'm not okay. I know when
Mm,
we talked when I was in Hattiesburg, you was like, man, you good? I was like, nah,
yeah,
I'm not good. Like instead of fooling myself, because whatever you tell yourself, you start to believe.
yeah.
So I had to be honest. No, I'm not okay. So now, I started the journey. I did my EAP paperwork today and ready for my intake, man. So I encourage anybody, if you know for sure, or people have told you, that this is beyond my scope as your friend. I think you need to talk to somebody. Don't take those words lightly. That person cares for you and they know you. And if they're telling you that, it's from a place of love, and you should take heed to it.
Mm. Hey, that's man. If I think that will help a lot of black men, or just people, period, that try to deal with stuff on their own, to realize that there is a limit to how much you can bear. And even if you do go on functioning with it, you still functioning with a severe infected wound that you just overlooking.
Yep.
That's what's up, bro. I'm happy. I'm happy that you could. I hate that you have suffered all that loss, but I'm happy that you made it to the point so where you can say, "Look, I do need, to seek services for this, and willing to put yourself on the waiting list. That's real, man. I'm proud of you.
Special. Yeah.
Um, Jeremiah, what do you think therapy is for? Like, I know you a therapist and you see people, but you know a lot of people got their own interpretation of what therapy is for.
For me, I think therapy is just for people to kind of eh, have some assistance in navigating different functions within their lives. I really hesitate to even use the word problems because for me, I, it's like when somebody sits across from me and they say, nothing kind of really happened today, or I didn't have any problems. Like I want to remove that stigma of therapy has to be if only if something goes wrong in your life, right?
Mm,
It's really just to help navigate those different functions within your life, I'd say.
like that. What about you, Kowalski? What is therapy for you? Or your interpretation of what therapy is for.
I definitely agree with Jeremiah, and I love that he said. I love Jeremiah when you said it's not about fixing problems. Like I want to encourage people. Don't think of yourself as having a problem. You have a concern, or there are patterns that keep reemerging, or you keep finding yourself in these situations. Therapy it would be great for that. Or this is the first time something has popped up. Maybe it's really stressful for you. You just want to talk to somebody and get consultation. Therapists are there for that too. And don't because we've evolved as a profession. Don't think of us as you come in and lay on the couch and we talk about all the issues in your life. Just understanding how you function as a person is another great benefit of therapy. People are usually surprised when I say that. It's like I just want to figure out how you do life, and they're like, "What? Ain't nobody ever said that." I was like, "Well, that's one of the benefits of therapy. We're trying to figure out what do you make meaning of your world." So yeah, therapy is for a lot of different things, man. Best way to find out if it's for you is to get a consultation. Free shameless plug. I'm just playing.
If you could choose a therapist to best fit you, what would they need to be like?
Somebody who can shoot it straight, somebody who can challenge me, right? Somebody who ain't trying to give me advice, right? But somebody who can help me find what they believe may already be down there, or they believe I can grow to gain the insight in. Um, so yeah, I say that for sure. Just somebody who can, give me feedback, but ask me before they give it, ask me, am I open to feedback? Right. I think that's where a lot of times a lot of confrontation comes from. A lot of people can't wait to correct somebody, but what if that person just ain't really open to hearing that right now? What would it take for you to ask them, are you open to receiving this right now? And they say yes or no, and y'all table it for later. Or if they say yes, you talk about it then.
Mm,
So I say all those things.
there you go. What about you, Kowalski? If you could choose a therapist to best fit you, what would they need to be like?
Ah, oh boy, because I'm a special case, and I'll be honest, I feel so sorry for whoever my therapist gonna be. Like that person already needs a raise, and they don't even realize it.
Mm,
Uh, but I agree with Jeremiah. Somebody that is willing to first build that rapport with me and to find out who I am as a person, what I've already tried, what's most important to me, and then what I want to get out of this process before they even start, trying to offer me interventions or things that I can do to resolve what's going on. Get to know me first, so that I trust you. Because let's be honest, the first 2 or 3 sessions, I'm not really trusting you. That's a tough thing to do. So somebody that's patient enough to walk through that process first, and then after we have that rapport, and then like Jeremiah said, be able to shoot it to me straight and show me where I'm, kind of missing the mark, or at least engaging in patterns that aren't beneficial to what I'm trying to get. So that's what I would want.
mm, mm. I like that, man. It definitely put a lot on people' mind. I think this conversation, for some reason, I didn't know how this was gonna go. Like, I mean, I know it. Like the title sound good, Black Men and Mental Health. I mean, I think it's talked about a lot and people hear it a lot, but just being in the conversation though. I think hearing it is cool. Like hearing it, I definitely want people to listen to this and hearing this. But this is a conversation I would challenge a lot of black men to just have with other black men in their life, because a part of it is kind of healing for me. Like it felt good. It felt like I'm talking, and it's like just a healthy conversation talking to another man about health and being black, mental health. Like it feel good. Because a lot of times we talk about everything but how we doing.
Yep.
So I just like want to encourage people to do that. So I thank y'all for being open to this conversation, especially
Yes,
as
sir.
therapists. You know, to still be able to be honest when you take your therapist hat off and talk about, your plights and struggle as a man. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yes, sir. I think a lot of people think it's easier for us because we are therapists, but that's not true, man. We still we still struggle because I mean, we're men at the end of the day, and we have some of those same operating systems that most of our clients have.
Correct.
Um, and
yeah,
so it's tough.
yeah. Any closing remarks or just plugs y'all want to plug in or whatever? Yeah, welcome
For
to do it.
me, I just say everybody lean into the harmony, and y'all take that for what it means.
Hey, I like that. Lean
Lean
into
to
the
the
Hmm.
harmony.
harmony.
For real, get in where you fit in, man. I agree with you, James. Have those conversations and preface it with, man, hey, I want to say something and I want to take it serious. I
Mm,
know a lot of times as black men, we throw stuff out there like serious topics, but it's done in a playful mode. And so the person, they returns because a conversation is a volley. They volley the ball back to you in a playful tone, but you really want to be serious. So just preface that with saying, I want to talk to you about something serious, man. I was thinking about seeing somebody. What do you think about therapy? That way they know to give you an
Yes,
honest answer.
yeah,
But I enjoyed the conversation. It was great. Got to do it
amazing.
again.
Got to do
most
it again.
definitely,
Really, really
man.
good. Really,
Most
really
definitely.
good. Good thought, James. Always, always. That's why I respect you so much, and you too, Kowalski. Just because y'all kind of are able to allow me to think about things I ain't even thought of in that way before, right?
Mm,
And that's why consultation and just fellowship is so beneficial.
it is, bro. It
It
is.
is.